think that with the Tempo Mage kind of coming up here, and we've seen a lot of rogues be able to wrestle that away because they're so powerful at those tempo swings themselves. And it does seem like, for the most part, Saiyan, well, he seems to be in really good spirits. He's like cheesing over there. Doesn't seem like he's necessarily, or is he talking to Eddie? Maybe even just kind of having some pre-game bants. Eddie, of course, rocking the Tespa T-shirt after this bans. So yeah, here we go. First game, Mage versus the Rogue. Saiyan has the Tempo Mage, and Eddie has the Burgle Rogue. And the Burgle Rogue has definitely been creeping up a lot. It has the secret package, so people call it Secret Rogue, some people call it Burgle Rogue. If you're Lorinda, you probably call it Minion Rogue. Minions and Spells Rogue, excuse me.
Minion, Spells, and Secret Rogue. Actually, I believe is Lorinda's official name for it.
I believe secrets are technically spells, CJ.
Yeah, that would make sense, wouldn't it? It's not how Lorinda operates. All right, this matchup, I always struggle to evaluate. Looking at the deck list, I do think that Saiyan's list can fight against it quite well. I feel like Devolving Missiles is one of the most important cards because it doesn't let the Rogue run away with games as easily if they get an early Edwin Van Cleef or Questing Adventure. I believe on paper, based off our statistics, Secret Rogue is a decent favorite against Tempo Mage. But it's going back to when Tempo Mages weren't, like, as refined, when Secret Rogue wasn't as popular. And so I don't rely on those statistics a lot because lately I feel like we've been seeing the Tempo Mage get the better with Evolving Missiles, with the ability to freeze and go for those explosive turns. But both decks seem to operate pretty similarly, where they both, for lack of better a phrase here, just pull win conditions out of their butts. They don't have that many win conditions built into their deck. TJ. I know, that's what I'm saying. They share a lot of similarities. And so it's like, who's feeling good today, right? That's a lot of times what I feel this matchup can come down to. But there is a lot of nuance to it, right? How you play the early game, I feel, is a pretty big one. How you space out certain resources, how aggressively you play like Shadow Jeweler Hanar, how quickly you go in with Edwin Van Cleef or Questing Adventure. Those types of things can matter a lot. Like when your power turns are, I guess is a better way to phrase that.
Well, we'll see if that ends up becoming now here. It does have an opportunity to push out this Questing Adventure, but it doesn't seem like anything clean is available on the table. Ethereal Lackey ends up being the play here. I was kind of thinking about Dragon Tord, but I think Eddie wants to save that for the Evil Miscreant. The Dragon Tord would have activated the Underbelly Fence, which would have let him immediately answer the board state, but I think maybe from Eddie's perspective, he'd much rather mass up ways to get secrets. Like if he discovers spells, there's a high chance he can hit a secret. Finds Daring Escape, which is very interesting.
That's a lot.
Possibly better to go for the sap though, because next turn if his opponent play. Oh, whoa, Waxmancy. That was the one I was expecting the least.
What in the world? Oh my gosh, look at these. Downtamer Brand probably too far away. Commander Rissa, we've seen how powerful that can be.
Yeah, one secret, and this hand becomes Fuego.
What to do?
And no Mana Cyclone, no Source Apprentice, no like crazy pop-off turn available. I wonder how aggressively Saiyan wants to fight for tempo. Like, if he wants to go a Blab Partner plus Arcane Missiles and ping off whoever's left. Looks like he's actually going to go double Spell Powered Minion and Arcane Missiles just to have the chance of clearing all this off. But it's not guaranteed. Nope. Leaves the Evil Miscreant alive. That's probably the worst one to leave alive.
Yeah, now that you're afraid of what your opponent could be doing here, but the lackeys have been played, so no Shadow Step to really punish this Evil Miscreant for being able to survive.
I wonder.
This hand is just, it has so much going on. Everything's like something that wants to combo with something else. Shadow Jewel Hanar wants secrets, Commander Rishna wants secrets, Questing Adventure just wants more cheap stuff, but he has preps, but not really too many meaningful ways to spend these preps. Like Waxmancy are alright. You're right, he just needs a secret. Like a secret just ties everything together.
It's so great.
You can get one.
This is the biggest tease of a rogue hand that I've seen in a hot minute. Underbelly Fence. I mean, the thing is, his hand like scales, right? Like it gets better with each passing turn because he unlocks another mana crystal, unlocks a draw that can really tie everything back. So like his hand feels very similar to like the mage's hand, where it's like if you find one piece to that puzzle, this hand becomes unstoppable. But he doesn't have it just yet. Sam picks up Devolving Missiles. You don't really need that right now. I can just kind of start things off with the Wand Maker.
Ray of Frost. It's not really helpful. I mean, Saint's pushing quite aggressively here. So in that regard, the Ray of Frost is helpful. Because he's putting Eddie all the way down to 15.
Right.
And Eddie seems content at just kind of playing this a little bit slower. Still no secret, but now can kind of go in, play like Questing Adventure, double Wand Thief, prep out the Waxmancy. I guess you'd prep out the Waxmancy first in case you find... No, you want Thief first in case you find something that you can Mage spell you can prep out.
Okay. Finds freeze effects and card draw effects. The Blizzard is probably just for him in case you need that in the late game scenario, and finds...
Oh, there it is!
Combustion. Oh, Ancient Mysteries!
Ancient Mysteries! That's perfect! Look at that!
Yeah. But does he want to play that now versus save it?
I think you save it. It's a 0 mana secret to start with Shadow Jewel Hanar, and then you have a prep for the second one.
What about the prep Waxmancy?
I kind of want the prep for the Shadow Jewel Hanar turn next turn.
Ooh.
Wait, what?
Going all in.
What? What?
Cult Neophyte!
Oh!
What?
No way. I'm pretty sure that play that he made is just worse unless you pick up exactly Cold Neophyte.
Well, yeah,
We talked about how his hand only needs a secret. And then he gets a secret and then plays it without playing the other cards in his hand that need secrets.
I wonder.
Also, Cold Neophyte and Plagiarize have anti-synergy with each other, so even though it's pretty cool, it's still not great. Because honestly, Saint could just value trade over these Wand Thieves and then Devolving Missiles, and, you know, he doesn't even have to play further into it. I guess you only fight value trade and then Devolving Missile. Like, now he doesn't have a secret again!
You just didn't have the foresight to be able to know that this was even possible. Like, we didn't even think about the Waxmancy coming out, but Devolving Missiles is just so sick, it doesn't even matter.
Time runs out on me.
And now you see it's plagiarized, you ping your Astromancer Solarian. Boom. All the day.
I like it. Do it.
Boom.
No.
All today. Boom. Nope.
Nope. Ping the Wisp. The Wisp is much more threatening if you think about it.
Well, I mean, it's like, okay, leave a 1/1 on board, or let Eddie devolving missiles my Astro Mancer Solarian. I'm leaving a 1/1 on board. Ain't even close. And now,
maybe the matchup it just goes so fast that you don't actually count on that.
I don't like that, Dan.
So
I want to throw a
many
tantrum right now.
Do it, TJ. You won't.
You're right. I won't. I've actually become very good at throwing tantrums. I learned from the best.
Yes.
Your old son.
Oh, jeez. What a day of video games.
I know.
I mean, Eddie's down to 14. This is not a trivial amount of damage that's being pushed out here, and Saiyan does have the Mana Giants coming up closer.
And Conjure's calling.
What to do? What to do?
You get enough value from just playing Evocation here. Like, I feel like that's like one of the best ways to discount the Mana Giant quickly. Be able to play with Conjures next turn.
I like it, because I think you're coming up on an ability for you to double conjures. Ooh, Combustion. Very solid. Combustion and a Secret. You could also double Secret here, and I'd be very okay with that.
Yeah,
Runs out on me.
I suppose he does want to play as many spells as he can. He could.
Job's done.
Okay, so he ends up discounting it by 3 instead of the 4 that he wanted, but that's okay.
That's okay. That's okay because he could play something else in the hand next turn. He could like counterspell, then Mana Giant, then Conjure's Calling, something along those lines. Eddie checks for Vape Flame Ward, Ice Barrier. It's a check for counterspell, Spellbender, and Netherwind Portal. And there's
Got a
Netherwind
high
Portal.
turnover rate.
Ooh.
Well, he doesn't play any lackeys in his deck, so that's kind of unfortunate. And now Eddie has more lackeys, finds a witchy lackey, so he can use that to transform and continue to upgrade. Maybe get use out of this generous mummy finally.
Lackey is what you want. So, is that going to help you win this game?
Choose soon.
It's good questions.
I kind of would have loved to have a secret by now. Maybe even a free secret. That'd be nice. Only Eddie could have had the opportunity to do that.
Alright, well the Sorcerer's Apprentice gets drawn. Is it time for Saiyan to go in here with the 1-mana Mana Giant and the ability to back it up? He actually, with the Sorcerer's Apprentice, can actually double Conjurer's Calling the Mana Giant here, because he will be able to play spells to discount the Mana Giant to 0, then play 2 Conjurer's Calling for 6 mana. It looks like for now we're going to go with just the first Giant, be a little bit conservative here. Finds pretty mess stats. In fact, he just...
Why wouldn't... my brain is melting, Dan. I guess the reason why you... I'm trying to figure out why you wouldn't go for the double Conjurer's Calling there. And I believe the reason is his Sorcerer's Apprentice. He wouldn't have a good follow-up. Because in his hand would literally just be Cram Session and Counterspell, right? If the board gets dealt with. But it would help. It would protect him against situations like this where he spent his whole turn really not developing that much power.
So many options.
Whereas if he had the second Conjurer's Calling, he could re-up with that Heroic Innkeeper and potentially get, 20 more stats on board.
Oh, yeah. I'm totally on board, TJ.
I think this hand said, play it all.
And Sam was like, no. Flare gets counterspelled. Eddie going in, saying, here's a free Sorcerer's Apprentice. I guess he can transform at the end, though. I like that.
Yep.
Oh, okay, he can't transform again.
I mean, that's better than Generous Mummy, but... Alright, gets to go again.
Okay. We will take those. And now Saiyan kind of stuck with the same situation he was in before, where he has to hope that he can get something good, and now Saiyan's in a really awkward spot.
Want the Font of Power Mana Cycle.
Okay, Evocation.
It's probably better. He's got some time, 5 power on board after freezing this Silverhand Knight. And finally, Eddie has Shadow Jeweler Hanar and a secret in hand.
I never lie, but I never tell the truth.
There we go. So Dirty Tricks finds. I don't think you really need any of these. Maybe just Noble Sacrifice because it's the cheapest secret and that lets you still pick up a couple of 2-mana secrets. I think because of our hand size, we really want to have rogue secrets to get a more card draw going. Okay, Repentance finds. Okay, the Dirty Tricks. So if he anticipates his opponent to be able to give him the cards here, I think it might be good. Mirror Entity is interesting. I don't think Freezing Trap's particularly very strong right now, but looks like he's going to save that for later. Are you thinking about the value of trading when he knows that Noble Sacrifice is up?
All right. Pop off a little.
Yes. So the Sorcerer's Apprentice
Someday I'll be just like you.
finally has the opportunity to go big.
Into my trap.
Kind of reassured actually to see that ambushed because even though it's annoying, he doesn't have to deal with Plagiarize and dirty tricks.
Oh, and just saying, like,
Okay.
yes, 30 tricks. Because if it's
Yes.
plagiarized,
No,
he
it's
gives him
huge.
Sorcerer Apprentice and all of these. That's massive.
Right. Doesn't have to worry about ordering and that stuff or like how much he's playing.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Whoa.
Whoa, these are all cheap
Whoa.
cards.
2 Icicles with more freeze.
Someone's out on me.
That's right.
He can keep drawing cards now. What's an Arcane Intellect, too? Arcane Missiles. Oh my gosh, he's going so fast. So he has
Wait.
Icicle to
Playing so quick, he might not be able to Icicle.
Yeah, he can Icicle now. I wanted to Icicle to draw the card there. And
Yeah.
return Mana Cyclone and hit base.
What?
That's going to get Noble Sacrifice. Diffused all the secrets, killed the board, drew and generated a ton of cards. That worked out
All right.
beautifully. Holy moly. And now Eddie's at 8. I mean, or 12, excuse me. 8? The heck? Where'd I get 8? He's at 12. With only like reactive cards in his hand, pretty much, except for Jandis. I guess Questing Adventure too. All right, so there's a big decision point here. Do you Blizzard and just like wait a turn, like Blizzard Freezing Trap, or do you go like Questing Adventure and Secret Passage to try and deal with the board and bump things up? Because Eddie still has like 2 Vendettas, 2 Backstabs, Underbelly Fence, Edwin Van Cleef. he's got a lot of ways to clear off the board and to beef up this questing adventure. So I kind of like the secret passage here, yeah.
Yeah, the secret passage
Defense?
makes sense. And finds Dragon's Horde. Zeraku, sure, because he knows he's going to take damage. And Shadow Step and finishes up his board clear. Very nice.
Oh no, it's not a missequence if he wants to take the additional damage. Ah, yeah, it's a missequence. He could have killed the Sorcerer Prince first, Shadow Step back the Underbelly Fence, and then attacked it to Mana Cycle, and the Underbelly Fence would have had 1 extra health.
Right, that makes sense.
Not the biggest deal, but you know, sometimes it matters. All right, so how much damage can Saiyan piece together over the next turn?
What to do? What to do?
I guess the biggest question is, how does he best deal with this questing adventure? And he now knows that it's plagiarized. Gives an Apexis Blast and a Raz Frost Whisper over. Don't think he's too concerned about that.
Right. He's just
He's
trying
also
to
gonna
kill
put
him at
Eddie
this
down
point.
to 9. Yep.
And Eddie has more mage cards going on than rogue cards at the moment.
He's just doing the same thing.
Right. I mean, it's kind of his best option here.
All right, so bottom cards for Saiyan are Mana Giant, Jandis Brav, Firebrand, Sorcerer's Apprentice, Ray of Frost, and Primordial Studies. So, Sorcerer's Apprentice feels like the card that kind of pieces his hand together. Mana Giant is also good because he can use Conjurer's Calling. Yep. Ooh.
Sure. Summon a 4-mana 5/6.
So he can go like Ram Session if he doesn't hit Sorcerer's Apprentice. He goes Mana Cyclone. It's 3 spells. If he does hit Sorcerer's Apprentice, he waits till next turn. He goes off with Shambhala. Maybe you just play the Mana Cyclone anyway. Dump Ancient Features. Maybe he doesn't even want to draw extra cards.
Job's done.
Right, because he doesn't want to get to the point where he's, one, having hand space issues, or 2, he's drawing into fatigue. Could be. We are getting into a very tight part of the game where it could end up coming down to that. Eddie has the Blizzard ready to go. A lot of these like defensive cards that he has prepared, like Freezing Trap and Blizzard, might end up becoming pretty huge here. Kind of annoying that Pit Crockle is a card because you can't really bounce that back unless you want to take more damage from it.
Yeah.
What makes something real?
Ooh, the Sticky Finger. Oh, Wormweaver. Whoa.
Yeah, the Wormweaver is really big here, actually, because it gives him the ability to use that Spell Burst and Summon. So now you can Freezing Trap, you can bounce, and you can backstab.
It's feeding time. Choose soon.
And Eddie has a really big board now. This looks like Eddie has found a way to swing things. And maybe like the lack of ability for Saiyan to draw, like he didn't draw cards. Maybe he needed to draw cards to find a way to get his Sorcerer's Apprentice a little quicker. I guess he would have been full cards anyways.
Yeah. And because he didn't ping his own Astromancer Solarian when he could have, and instead killed a Wisp, and it got Devolving Missiles, he doesn't even have Solarian Prime as an out in his deck.
That's right.
All right, so this looks like it has to be a Shambhala turn. But unfortunately, it's not with a Sorcerer's Apprentice, and there's still a Sorcerer's Apprentice in his deck that if he plays the Mana Cyclone, or not Mana Cyclone, if he plays the Shambhala this turn, Pickrock's just dead.
Someone's out on me.
Well, I guess he was testing to see if it was, some other Hunter Secret intro, but now he's stuck in a
Like
tough
what?
spot, has to go
Snake
for
Trap
it.
wouldn't even proc.
I don't know.
What is he testing for outside of Freezing Trap in that scenario? He's attacking into a minion. The only secret that can proc from attacking into a minion in that scenario is Freezing Trap.
Masterman to Solarian. But how much damage is on the board right now?
I will crush your
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14. He's dead.
Right. I mean, somehow Eddie's found a way to swing this game. Really impressive game number 1 here coming out of Eddie. Actually at 15 because of the Raz.
The Raz.
That'll do it. So Eddie starts things off with a Burgle Rogue victory. And we kind of talked about how close his hand was being able to pop off and do really crazy, powerful tempo plays turn after turn, and ended up getting that. So job well done, and seems like Eddie will be able to get off to that very quick 1-0 lead here into the Rogue versus that Mage. And then still has his Warrior and his Priest remaining. And I think the Rogue was definitely a class that I think is getting a lot of consistent wins in GM. So it's not really surprising to see it do well against Mage. It was just surprising to see the way it came back there.
Yeah. I did think that game was pretty sloppy. I disliked a lot of things that happened in that game from both sides. Maybe a little more on Saiyans, but that was a tough one. It felt like both players kind of at times threw away potential opportunities to maybe like snowball a lead or come back. The secret playing the 0-mana secret with Shadow Jewel Hanar, Rissa in hand, not going for the double Conjurer's Calling, those types of things. I feel like you need to gain those percentage points when you can.
Yep, that's right. So that leads us to our next intermission. So we're going to take a few minutes and get set. When we come back, we're going to have game number 2 between Eddie and Just Saiyan here at Hearthstone Grandmasters.
Hearthstone Grandmasters is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network. T-Mobile.
Pets that I had growing up, many frogs used to catch a lot of frogs.
I had 2 goldfish, when I was at 8, I think.
We got our first cat. His name was Tiger. He was a barn cat.
Probably 100 to 200. They were all goldfish, and they all died relatively quick.
My sister got a dog. His name was Primo.
Most recently, we have a cat called Ember, which my family fails to call by name because they just try to call her like that, but her name's Ember.
My little brother got a cat. Oh gosh, I don't know his cat's name. I moved out of the house before he got that cat.
I had a cat growing up. His name was Charlie, which in English would translate as Charlie.
The girl I was with at the time had 2 cats.
I had a bunch of pets growing up. I don't know if I want to give out their names that I remember, because I might use those for other purposes, but
The girl I'm with now has a cat, and her name is Kiki. So lots of cats, lots of dogs. Always love having an animal in the household, at least one.
Welcome back, everyone, to Hearthstone Grandmasters. We're currently in the middle of a series between Eddie and justsaiyan, and currently Eddie is up 1-0 over justsaiyan, who looks like he was trying to hang in there with that mage deck, but it seemed like overall, despite him being in the lead, it seemed like all of a sudden out of nowhere he just got swept up. So going into game number 2, what can we really expect here, DJ?
Well, it's going to be Pain Warrior from Eddie, and Pain Warrior is a very difficult deck to pilot. It doesn't have like a huge margin for error, just because of the fact that it does have like a finite amount of damage, very limited resources. It does have the potential to draw through its deck quickly, but once you're out of damage, you're out of damage. Like once you're out of tools to be aggressive, and you can have a lot of like dead cards in your hand. I feel like the key to it is to be incredibly annoying with the deck, not go all in too early, but make sure that you're always presenting threats turn after turn, but make sure that you always have a threat to back it up. But I do like Pain Warrior's matchup.
Yeah, the Pain Warrior matchup in particular seems to be one that is still being explored, despite it being one of the older decks currently in the metagame. We've seen it do very well in previous patches, or rather previous expansions. But for the most part, it still does not see as much play as Bomb Warrior. And it could be that Bomb Warrior is just more popular and more fun. It could be that Bomb Warrior is just more powerful. But whenever I see this deck perform, I always feel like I'm pretty impressed by some of the results that it's able to put forth together. So I'm looking forward to see what Eddie's got, because it does seem like a deck that he feels extremely comfortable with, and he's been playing for several weeks now, while a lot of people have opted for Bomb Warrior.
Yeah, and one of the worst matchups for the deck has been Druid, just because the deck lacks hard removal. Has a lot of great tempo tools. It can snowball games quickly, but it doesn't deal with big minions very well. And because of that, the lineups that have brought in the past are banning Druid, but a lot of lineups this week just don't even have Druid. So you basically get a free ban in that scenario. You get to ban worse matchups for your other decks. And, that leads me to believe that the deck's in a pretty good spot in this week's metagame. So a couple good matchups even left remaining on the table for Eddie with Pain Warrior. I feel like this being one of them. Maybe not the best hand to do it with, but Corsair Cash. That makes it much better.
Corsair Cash on 2 seems pretty solid. Gives you the ability to coin it out in the next play and be able to utilize, I guess it just gives some flexibility that's really nice here. I guess the question would be, like, what's the follow-up to it if you end up doing that? Versus just using, like an Inner Rage here and playing for tempo. Finds Anchor.
It's the best one.
Generally is, yeah. So you can get your cards drawn and get your momentum going.
Wow.
That's a lot of respect. I guess it's because he knows that the Anchor will be able to attack the Astromancer Slayer, so that actually does make sense.
Inner Rage is one of the most important cards in the whole deck, though. But I guess from his perspective, he's saying, if I don't kill this now, when will I kill it? But with a Blood Boil Brute in hand and Anchor drawn, having a 1/3 on the board that could one day grow up to be a damaged minion is great for Blood Boil Brute. Maybe the downside is too much of a downside for Eddie to want to take that type of risk. Like if he has Cram Session, or if he puts on some pressure with Arcane Missiles and Violet's Bowings, that kind of thing. But like, I don't know. We'll see. I'd love to look back and be completely results oriented, so I'm gonna stop analyzing it and just rub it in everybody's faces later on down the line. Or everybody will forget about it if it worked out in the end, and we'll all, shake hands and cheer.
All right, well, I believe you, TJ. I think Inner Rage might be something that Eddie might regret not having later on, but at the same time, he's got 2 copies of it, so maybe it's going to be okay for now. Swing with the anchor first to see what he draws. Got some playable pirates right now. Could use just the Sackett Sapper. Utilize the mana that you have and establish that 4-mana 4/4. Saiyan does have a response to it in several ways. You could actually just play Violet Warden here on curve. But I think maybe he might be still unsure about whether or not he wants Eddie to have the ability to use his minions. Like, if he leaves up minions, he gives the Risky Skipper and Blood Boil Brute a lot more value. So if he doesn't kill off this Sapper or like find a way to eliminate it, because he could do some really fun stuff. He could play like Firebrand, and he could play the Ray of Frost, and then get the Firebrand back. But then he's kind of missing on his tempo.
Yeah. Oh, Coerce. Eddie playing 1 copy of Coerce. Not a super popular choice, but it is a tech card. Seems good here to keep the Sapper alive. It's not the best trade into this. Armorsmith Coerce?
Maybe it's just Armorsmith and the Bomb Wrangler, and you just... Okay. I mean, this also is fine, too. The Coerce is pretty solid, because, I mean, you are killing one of the biggest minions that are in the deck. But, you know, I kind of thought Eddie was going to think about saving it based off the ordering. I am curious why the Armorsmith comes out here, as opposed to... Right, I guess, like... Is it not worth saving in the hand so you can, like, guarantee that there's no shenanigans that happen like this? I guess he doesn't really
I don't think the armor is, like, super relevant in the matchup, but it is another minion, and he had to activate this some way, right? So he's giving up a minion no matter what, or, like, coin, in order to activate that Coerce. This is the best mana utilization, I suppose.
Oh, okay. Well, Eddie has the Shield of Honor. Seem like that's particularly important right now.
I'll show you who's boss.
But Eddie can play the Bomb Wrangler turns with the Risky Skipper, and that should be a nice explosive way to get back onto the board. And then Blood Boil Brute. Also available this turn, too. I like it.
Yeah. Put in a lot of pressure. This is very difficult to deal with. Okay, gets to keep the health on his Blood Boil Brute. Is running out of resources a little bit, but has a lot of ways to kind of drive this board home if it lives. Like with Shield of Honor, Inner Rage. If he picks up Bloodsworn Mercenary on the top of that, that's even better. And then if he can stick some damage with that second Inner Rage in hand, you know, Grom becomes lethal. Battle Rage is a threat almost every single turn. He has so many great cards off the top.
Yeah, so that for the Flame Strike by using the 2 Rays of Frost. Finds a Kona Cold. Elemental Allies might be okay. Wow. Okay. Hold on. There is some real interesting stuff that can happen with this Bloodsworn Mercenary and the Shield of Honor. Especially on some really high and big targets like the Blood Boil Brute. Definitely a little awkward though right now because the Blood Boil Brute is frozen.
Yeah. Also, there's a Risky Skipper, so unless he trades it in,
Yeah, I don't think that he necessarily would want to do that necessarily. So he's gonna start things off with the live wire lance attack. Sees Titanic Lackey. Whoa. That's particularly interesting, given that he has the ability to copy some of his minions. Like this. And so now Flame Strike gets a lot worse.
What about Solarian Prime, though?
Well, Flame Strike is still very good here in general, but like it's not a full board clear, which is what you're hoping for. And you do take damage, and you summon 2 1/1 boom bots, so that hurts.
Yeah,
I guess
but
you
do
could
shut
mirror
off all
image
the
first.
damaged minions. You shut off Battle Rage, Shield of Honor. Like, even though the Titanic Lackey was interesting last turn, the Shield of Honor felt like it made a lot of sense. Like he could have live wire lance into the mana cycle. Traded the Brisky Skipper over the the 1/1 lab partner. Then Shield of Honor, Bloodsworn Mercenary, the Bomb Wrangler, push 5 to face. Then have 2 Divine Shielded Bomb Wranglers. Because the Shield of Honor is a lot more difficult card to use than Titanic Lackey.
That's true. Shield of Honor does tend to be much more problematic for the mages to deal with, unless they have like arcane missiles or something, so you can definitely see that.
He's just kind of out of stuff. Unless this last Lackey can pick up something big.
Gonna lead the charge?
Last Lackey.
Drink your blood, eat your flesh.
Unfortunately, he doesn't get the mana discount, but it's okay. Was planning on playing Bloodborne Brute anyways. This looks like a good opportunity to play Solarian Prime for saying.
Prime time.
It's prime time, baby. And he even discounts the Mana Giant.
That's true. He
So
can
you
play
can play
alongside
Mana
of
Giant.
it once the board's clear and he Pyroblasts his opponent in the face.
So I'm thinking Solarian Prime is very solid here. I'm thinking
I have become one with the void.
Code of Cold is okay as well. Ends up going for the Solarian Prime. On to Power, Flame Ward, Conjurer's Calling, which is not what you necessarily want to see. But now you can actually play that Giant here.
Yeah.
Oh, he's found a power, found a Mana Cyclone. What?
Yeah, and Elemental Allies, and he can play Mana Giant, which isn't Elemental. So the Mana Cycle will then activate the Elemental Allies next turn. This also sets up Lethal. Eddie is deady.
Yeah, that's just game. Eddie concedes. Saiyan ties it up. His mage able to get past the warrior. Wasn't able to get past the rogue, but finally a game 2 victory there. So the mage is now gone, which means that Saiyan has Demon Hunter and Rogue versus warrior and the priest. That warrior seemed to be like doing okay, but I think it does call into question, like, was there ways for Eddie to be a little bit more proactive, or rather like better to protect his board proactively, but like you can't really account for things like Flame Strike either, right? Because that Flame Strike was really devastating. And Eddie just drew more combo cards. So, kind of back to your point there, like what could we have done a little bit differently to set ourselves up better for success? I don't really think there's too many more ways to do it, because like in the end, like I don't think Eddie's like second inner rage really came into play there that game.
It wouldn't have. The only turn is, even outside of Flame Strike, if you're not accounting for random things, you're only accounting for things in your opponent's deck. Using the Shield of Honor on the turn where he Titanic Lackeyed when he was going for Bloodsworn Mercenary, almost every case it's better to Shield of Honor, right? It not only does it protect it against Flame Strike, it protects it against everything. The only thing that I can think of off the top of my head, correct me if I'm wrong, if there's anything else, Raz Frost Whispers, the only thing that this play was better against. But if your opponent spends 5 of their mana playing Raz just to knock off the Divine Shields off of your 5/1 Bomb Wranglers, I'm pretty sure you're okay with that, because that means your massive Bloodborne Brute is living and you're pushing way more damage. So that's the only turn. I like getting Shield of Honors out, especially with Bloodborne Mercenary while I can, just because it's a much harder card to use than Lackeys. But that's it. Everything else, the Interage didn't come back to bite him at all, as I, slightly predicted it would. It was just saying, kind of having the edge in the value department, and Eddie not picking up Battle Rage to kind of reload after he made those plays that spent a lot of his resources.
All right, well, that does end up becoming the best of 5 turns into a best of 3 here. Eddie coming up for game number 3. Still looking to find a way to maybe be able to regain some of that swag he had from the first few weeks, where he was able to, where he kind of feel like he was winning everything and being unstoppable. Right now, kind of at a 3-3 record. A win here secures his playoff spot. A loss kind of puts him a little bit in a weird spot. Saiyan is kind of in the same position as well. A loss here kind of cements his relegation bracket spot, which you obviously want to avoid. Pretty good opening hand for Saiyan with the Shadow Hanar and Dirty Tricks. Those are 2 pretty good cards in combination.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's any merit to holding on to other cards like Jandis here. I don't think you want it, just because it feels like Shadow Hanar can improve a lot if you have other ways to generate tempo, or even just early game plays to support it, so that way it doesn't die. Oh, he holds on to just Jandis. Okay.
Wow.
I wasn't expecting that, TJ.
I was thinking, like, in this matchup, Shadow Jewel Hanar Dirty Tricks, like, as a keep, may not be that good. Because Shadow Jewel Hanar, if you play it onto a board, I guess if you coin it out, like, Warmont Challenger kills Shadow Jewel Hanar with a lot of upside, right? That's always factoring into your mind when you're playing against Bane Warriors. You don't want to keep these cards, like, all in your hand on these cards that just died at Warmont Challenger. But if you, like, coin it out and then play Dirty Tricks next turn, it's still a full turn before they can play one more Challenger. You get another turn of Secrets. But it's not a huge tempo start, right? You're playing a couple Secrets and then your whole plan is shot down by 1 card from your opponent. I understand. But Jandis Brav also isn't the strongest card against Bane Warrior either. They have a lot of ways. I mean, just Risky Skipper alone makes Jandis not feel like that strong of a card.
Yeah, I'm always worried about, like, if you play Jandis and your opponent just plays any 1 damage AoE and kind of kills off your minions, and if you have really powerful cards like Twilight Runner, or I guess you wouldn't choose that to die. But yeah, kind of going back to what we were saying, and perhaps Saiyan just feels like it's too slow. He wants to rather have the ability to put minions onto the board instead of just drive value, which I guess does make sense.
Yeah. Ooh. Battle Rage is real nice.
Yeah, Battle Rage is really good. Have the opportunity to go for many of the iconic plays that have been very powerful with Battle Rage, with Risky Skipper. Both players just kind of powering up here. Saiyan has the opportunity to go for that Jandis right now. And Jandis he shall.
What makes something real?
It's just gonna get wrecked, right?
Yeah, it's not looking like Saiyan's opening mulligan is going to pay off here. And Eddie's ready to go.
Yeah. I want to dagger into the Sky Raider. You know Risky
Sky
Skipper's
Raider?
in there. It's just all Sky Raider. So you're 100% returning Risky Skippers in there. So you're just giving him 1 extra Battle Rage.
Could throw in the Corsair as well. Just get a little bit extra
He doesn't
damage.
get Battle Rage at all. Second
Misses the
skipper.
top minion. All things considering, though, this is still a salvageable position for Sand because he can totally use his Vendettas and his Edwin Van Cleave to clean up the board. Has the One Thief as well. One Thief can find Arcane Explosion, which would be pretty nice.
Yeah, I'm also wondering where this Mind Flayer Karsh fits in. If he could still Vendettas, use Vendettas because he could Mind Flayer Karsh and One Thief get the Mage spell and then use Vendettas. But Mind Flayer Karsh on the Bomb Wrangler was kind of an interesting proposition.
Ho 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 ho! Hee 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 hee! Woohoo! Woohoo! Yeah, puzzle box of the Oxeron. Incredibly powerful as an opportunity to swing the board. Sand goes for the Edwin Van Cleave as well, pressuring as much as he can.
That was quite a good turn. Saying. Let's hold on to Vendetta too.
What now?
Secret passage to reload if he needs it. At this point, Eddie does not have a great answer to this Edwin.
I mean, maybe you just have to accept that the Edwin's going to live for a little bit, or you want to get lucky and trade like the boom button and see what happens afterwards.
I must choose.
I'll show you who's boss. Rudy, go get him.
Dumping his second risky
risky
skipper. And straining his Battle Rage again. Like I wanted to last turn go for Armor Smith and then Battle Rage to finish off the turn. He would have activated Dirty Tricks, but he would be drawing more cards than Satan on it. And because he didn't do that, now he finds himself in the awkward spot where, you know, what's Battle Rage gonna do now? He's gonna draw, like, even if this risky skipper survives, which spoiler, it won't. He would only draw 2 cards from it.
Right, and now like he might get into maybe he feels like he can just trade down the resources though, because Rogue only has a couple of cards in hand, so he feels comfortable doing that.
Like just never play spells for the whole game.
Right,
He
avoid
knows
doing
this
that.
is a dirty trick, so it's like as soon as he plays a spell, that resource battle is non-existent, and that's why like accepting the dirty tricks and playing the Battle Rage and drawing more cards than your opponent gets is like a better way to match that kind of card for card value game. But
we've seen starvation tactics work out before.
Yeah, just Pain Warrior is
okay. Maybe time for a Warmaul challenger to step in here and kill off the Van Cleave, unless you want to give 8 damage to your opponent here, guaranteed. Ooh, this feels difficult though because of that Bomb Wrangler. My player cards come up huge. Can use the Corcoran Elite as well to trade into the Bomb Wrangler and then trade the Boom Bot. Got him. Not even close. Easy.
4.
What? Okay.
All right.
So you can Shadow Jewel Hanar, then Secret Passage, or you can Questing Adventure, then Secret Passage. I would probably not do both, though. Yeah, doing both is very ill-advised, I'd say.
You have nothing. He doesn't even have like vendettas left in his deck. Let's have 2 backstabs, but on this board, that's pretty bad. He has 1 Dirty Tricks, 1 Play Dries left. The Dirty Tricks he can't even play. Oh, he also has an Ambush. Excuse me. Wow, he didn't play any. What? What is he looking for?
Looking at his deck list in particular, he already had played Jandis. He already played Van Cleef. I mean, maybe his
most expensive card in
Evil
his deck is
Miscreants?
an Evil Miscreant. I feel like you can get away with playing the Questing Adventure before there. Maybe he just wants to have a questing in his hand on the other end of this Secret Passage. Doesn't have time to react to this. Play a Dragon's Horde or Wand Thief if he draws it, or Pharaoh Cat even. Did he play the Pharaoh Cat?
I mean, did he play the Pharaoh Cat?
No, he didn't. That's just waste. There's no Brawl in this deck, so just having an extra minion on board and an extra reboard minion in hand.
Yeah, I mean, that is kind of a significant deal, though. So... Okay, but you can totally return it. Yeah, you could totally play the Questing Adventure, return it, and let Eddie play that again. But then turn 9, you don't have any stall guaranteed, and you don't get to the puzzle box turn.
Yeah.
Give me a quest.
Don't let the door hit you.
I mean, it is what it is, right? You can't always get what you want. So redevelop here, and Eddie probably just replays a Deathwing.
It has a lethal setup if this Deathwing is not dealt with again. Alright, what can we find? Natalie Celine, here it is. Nope. And Saiyan doesn't know it yet, but he's dead.
He has a strong idea that he probably could be dead.
Yeah.
His opponent hasn't been playing cards for a while, just kind of set it up that way, and now we might get to a puzzle box that doesn't actually get to activate. A lot of what ifs. What if he got off that Pharaoh Cat that gave him a Kartut Defender? Just, you know, a little bit
a Raft Golem or
too
like
little.
That.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's a little bit too much pressure, a little bit not enough value on the rogue side, and looks like the strategy that Eddie took to try to starve the rogue out of resources ended up paying off. Not always something that you see having success, but yeah, a job well done to Eddie.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I honestly thought that him not getting that Battle Rage would have punished him, because looking at the hand from Eddie, it just or from Saiyan, it just seemed like he had so much gas, but the Secret Passage kind of whiffed because, you know, he ended up not playing the Questing Adventure, but then having to play the Questing Adventure that he got from Secret Passage, and then, you know, not getting full value from it. He really didn't develop much more that turn than he would have if he hadn't even played the Secret Passage to begin with, which is not necessarily what you want. And you know, obviously we can say that, hey, maybe that Pharaoh Cat gives him a Kartut Defender or a Rap Golem, and he can turn that game around. But you know, those are those kinds of small margins that that don't often matter, but can sometimes matter. So now Eddie, only deck left is the Priest, and he's got to fight against Saiyan's Rogue or the Demon Hunter being the last two decks. So
Still two winnable matchups for Saiyan, but the Priest versus Rogue is what I'm worried about. I feel like that one's just been going so much in the favor of Priest. They ain't going to start off with Demon Hunter, though, to get things going.
Yeah, Demon Hunter should be pretty well outfitted to pressure that Priest. So Saiyan going to turn to a matchup that he can trust. And now that we have this set up, can Saiyan stay alive and even fight for a playoff spot? So opening mulligans looking at here, Eddie has a double Sethic Veil Weaver, both solid cards to have in your opening hand if you want to start tempoing. I like having at least one of them. With the Holy Smite, if you choose to hold on to it, he could also end up just full mulliganing to try to get something else. Saiyan ends up choosing to hold on to Mana Feet of Panthera and the Skull of Gul'dan. Did Eddie 3-keep here? He did.
I like it. Though, one of the things is that Sethic Veil Weaver can sometimes be a card that bails you out in the later stages of the game, and it's usually pretty easy for Demon Hunters to deal with those minions early on. Just a Twin Slice deals with both the Sethic Veil Weavers, Shatter Mystic. So, I'm curious like how greedy Eddie gets with the second Sethic Veil Weaver, or if he, is just gonna use it in Holy Smite next turn. Well, I mean, he dodged everything so far. This is either a Hero Power Coin Mana Feeder Panthera turn in which Sethic lives, or just a Mana Feeder Panthera turn. I guess that makes sense with Double Skull. Now he gets to go Sethic Veil Weaver, Holy Smite, Apotheosis in hand. Oh, Daniel!
This is really nice. No ability to activate that Shatter Mystic. This might be an opportunity for Priest to get really far ahead.
Yeah. Well, he has Morrow Slicer, which is kind of a bummer if you're, a fan of the Priest in this matchup, which for reason I can't, no matter who's playing, I just can't help but root for the Priest. Just because it feels like the Demon Hunter is the dark and the Priest is the light. You're trying to barely hang on and survive and outlast. It's like a boss fight.
Boss fight in World of Warcraft?
Boss fight in any game.
Hmm.
Time grows short.
Oh! Okay, I mean, this is going to be heavily punished, right?
I mean,
getting that extra card.
It depends on what you think is a punish. Like, Saiyan gets to keep an extra swing of Marrow Slicer, because he'll be able to clear this off with Blade Dance next turn. Or Eddie gets an extra card from the Sethic Veil Weaver. Like, he gives him one extra card, but gets one extra swing. That's the trade-off.
Right. And I guess maybe that's why he doesn't really mind nearly as much, because even though it looks good, this Shatter Mystic does clear off both the minions. But that extra card ended up giving a Soul Mirror for Eddie.
Mm-hmm.
That's not an irrelevant card at all.
No.
That's a way to guarantee answer Sociologist Militia.
This timeline amuses me.
Amuses me too. Double Blade Dance already. Which is good to have in the later portions of the game because you're going to have to push to these big minions, these big top minions, but maybe not so much right now.
It just really stinks that you have nothing to proactively develop here. No Glade Band Adept or Soul Shard Lapidary. So, saying if you would like hero power, kill this Chrono Breaker, and then get his board wiped. It just feels like it stops a lot of his momentum.
Take 5
Maybe
damage,
instead
get rid
you
of your
just
weapon
go
charge,
face.
clear your own board. Cool turn, bro.
Right. I think in this case, maybe just hero power, go face, and just equip the Draki Warblade, and just assume that your opponent's going to win the board, but use the Blade Dance to come back.
Yeah.
Is he going to pass? Oh, he's doing it. He's actually swinging at the minion, clearing his board. I guess I feel like I guess it's because he doesn't feel like next turn he can play Blade Dance because he's going to play Skull Dan.
Yeah. He's also not... right? He's not 100% sure that there's a dragon in hand. So... Oh,
the
more
mind
soul
games.
mirrors.
Alas, poor warlock.
Wow, those are some solid cards to have discounted.
Yep. Soul Shear seems like a good card to play now. I guess you're probably not playing Sociologist next turn regardless, so I don't know. Maybe not. He only has 1 Soul Fragment in the deck, so if you play Soul Shear, he only has 2. Or 3, excuse me. 2 more. The Sociologist wouldn't be, like, super good.
I grow.
And I guess what else are you doing? Are you attacking in? Alright, he holds. I don't mind the hold. There's no point in attacking the weapon because the weapon swing is valuable. Eddie's already at 29. If you're not developing, he can heal that damage up. Attack seems wasted. Alright, it's time to power infusion this bad boy.
A simple spell.
Just kidding.
Nope. Cobalt Spellkin. Oh, interesting. 2 embalming rituals. Let's wrap up those bad boys.
I wonder.
Right here from Eddie's perspective, what is really important to him of how he sticks onto this board here? It seems like he's really deep into thinking about if he wants to have a sticky board against the Demon Hunter, which I'm having a hard time understanding why you wouldn't.
Yeah. Or maybe if there's like a better target coming up soon to a bombing ritual, but it just doesn't feel like it.
Right.
You can hold on to 1. Bombing ritual, the higher health minion, that's tougher for Saiyan to remove both. And then hold on to 1 in case he needs to stick a big min. Have an extra chance to stick a big minion later. This is just so much damage. It's gonna keep piling up.
Oh. Yeah, so he's got 2 damage, 3 damage with the hero power, 7 through the glaive bound, 11 through the twin slice. It's looking real good.
And then another outcasted skull. Getting a Soul Shear Glade Bound push.
Yep, I like it. And while they spend their entire turn trying to deal with the board, you can Skull Dan, or you can even Sociologist.
Yep.
Interestingly enough, Murozan can answer their board right back, but it needs to play things in a specific order, which is very funny.
I wonder if he feels confident using Raised Dead here. Because he has Shadow or Death to deal with this Glade now.
You think this is your time?
Alright, Murzon, it is! Okay.
Whoa. If he plays a he plays a second slice first,
he
which
played
means
in
the
the
Blade
right
Dance
order.
clears it off.
Yep.
Wow.
Also gets the 6
That went
for.
perfectly.
Oh, that is good. Oh, that is good.
That was the turbo nuts, TJ.
And now Saiyan doesn't have any weapon buffs left. How many soul fragments are in the deck? There are 3. Oh, all right. What can he pick up with Skull that can let him push through this?
It can pick up Chaos Strike, which would force him to attack into the 8/8, but it would clear. Then Slice would do the same. I guess he could Sociologist Militia with the. He does have 8 mana. My fault. The Spirit Jailer. This is 5, so we can clear off everything but the Wand Maker. Actually, clear that off with the Aldraki Warblades if he wants.
Yeah, but it's a lot of resources spent clearing. Oh wow, Saiyan wants to take that extra 2 so he can have a little bit more board dominance. Wave of Apathy. And Cabal Shadow Priest?
Yeah, and you can fit in a heal.
Seems good to me. Not to mention that he's also like setting up 2-turn lethal because he has like Power Infusion.
Oh
and
yeah.
he has Second Slice.
Yeah, and that does make me want an Embalming Ritual.
I like it. I don't think he can die from 19. You just saw a ton of power come out. Oh, he's second slicing. Slice.
Okay. So he wants to take off this power from the Rusher. I feel like he had time to do that, though. I don't know. I guess whatever keeps this board alive, because he's got the Power Infusion to follow it up. Alright, so Skull needs to pick up Aldraki Warblades or some Soul Fragments. Alright, they're Soul Fragments. But Skull picking up Soul Fragments means that these cards are not discounted. Alright, Aldraki Warblades discounted. But no weapon buffs.
Penflinger can't really change too much here right now, so he's going to have to go digging. Mana Burn, useful, but like, gotta find a way to take power off the board here.
Yeah. He's got so many Soul Fragments in deck. There's an opportunity for him to maybe not worry too much about damage, because it would take like very specific cards in order for Eddie to win the game. He's healing just a little bit here. There's 9 damage on board. Power Infusion is 11.
Right. Wand Maker?
Inner Fire is lethal.
Okay.
Because Power Infusion is +2/+6.
Right,
It'd be 11 + 5, be 16 damage. Yeah, Wand Maker to Inner Fire is lethal.
Must consider.
Or he'll Mass Resurrection. What's died so far? He said Murzon, Glavebound, Wandmaker, Cobalt Spellkin, 2 Sethic Veilweavers.
Are you worried about dying at all, though? You did see your opponent play Skull, so you have to kind of count for, like, worst possible scenario.
Yeah, I think I do want to play Wandmaker here.
I mean, Mass Resurrection trade does put Saiyan in a really tough spot, though. Like, you have to have the damage or you die.
Yeah, I suppose. I actually kind of want to push the 5 to base. I don't know.
No. What? Don't put.
Yeah, push 5 to base. Do it.
3, 7, 8, 9, 13. 13?
13.
He has 13 damage? 13. Is there a way you can squeeze 14?
No.
Wow. Eddie went as close as he could.
Demons?
Oh,
without
jeez.
dying.
Right? We didn't count that? So, Social Lapidary 5, Glavebound
right.
9, Spirit Jailer 10, Aldraki Warblades 11, 12, Penflinger for free. Look at Eddie, he just got like blown back from his monitor.
Put some soul into it.
grows short.
Hey, loser!
I mean, he's clearing he's clearing off some of the minions here, and like all of Eddie's momentum.
The important part is that he smacks him for 8 at the end of this turn.
Oh my gosh, 8 damage upstairs.
He's got 9 from hand. Nope, not enough.
Oh. Wow, what a reversal. And like what looked like to be a really promising start for the Priest, Demon Hunter is going to be able to get there anyways. And that's why you can't really sleep on a Demon Hunter. They have so much power. And TJ, was there ever any doubt that we were going to Game 5?
Second match of Americas, and the one match that we filled in and cast for Europe today, all Game 5s. Whew. But just be thankful that this one did not come down to a Priest mirror like the other two.
Eddie already had the foresight and banned the Priest.
Yeah, he knew. He knew. He knew all along. It will come down to Eddie's Priest versus the Rogue from Saiyan. So I guess we get a pretty unique matchup for the last one. Rogue versus Priest can sometimes feel like Priest versus Priest, but you know, not always the case. Just can be a value matchup. Rogue and Priest both. The thing they have in common, along with the Mage, is that they don't really have too many win conditions built into their deck. They just find one along the way, along the path of the game that's in front of them. So we shall see if Saiyan can muster it up and beat the Priest. But I feel like this matchup's been going more so the Priest way, despite what the historical statistics say, which has Secret Rogue being one of the winningest decks in Grandmasters for the season. I do feel like the way that the Control Priest play right now, they can fight for tempo and they can outvalue Rogues because they will run out of resources. They draw cards faster and will hit fatigue faster. But it's a cool matchup nonetheless.
Yes, that's right. So now we come down to the wire here, and Saiyan's season could come down to this game. It is the last series that he'll be playing. He's 2-4. A loss here will cement himself in that relegation bracket, it looks like. And, with Bloody Face also losing today, maybe he has some company of having some of the most dominant players be there, but it does seem like that's the trend, kind of what's happening here in Grandmasters. Players who usually do well, we have high expectations for. They're not safe. So a really important game number 5 here going into Eddie versus Saiyan.
Alrighty. So taking a look at the decks, we've seen both in action thus far today in this matchup. Eddie playing a pretty standard minion Control Priest. Saiyan playing the Secret Rogue with Cult Neophytes as the 2-drop. There you can see it. So pretty lean deck overall from Saiyan. A little bit different than some of the other ones we've seen today with the Underbelly Fence. But it does run like the Double Dragon Sword, single prep. It does differ a little bit in the Secret package where he runs double Dirty Tricks, 1 Plagiarized, and 1 Ambush, which a lot of players run double Dirty Tricks, double Plagiarized, no Ambush. But pretty much just small tech differences across the board. Nothing that really stands out that's gonna, be too effective in the matchup.
Do you ever vendetta your own minion to get Evil Miscreant out of here?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I guess the Plagiarize here just makes the most sense, and then you can just kind of follow along the curve, the Ancestral Guardian and the Janus Barov, but like right now, I guess in this case, Saiyan doesn't feel comfortable with the play drives because then your opponent might just give you like one card. And it has even more value later on, plus the Shadow Jewel.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense too.
Yeah, Dagger Up just feels the best there.
All right.
This is a Cold
Dragon
Neophyte. So
Tord.
now you can Vendetta and Evil
Right.
Miscreant.
Do you not want to just tempo as well, though? Ancestral Guardian feels like very solid tempo. I guess it's still kind of weak because everything has like 2 to 3 health.
I've watched enough Eddie vs. Saiyan to know that this is Waxmancy 100% of the time.
Yes. Oh, he does it. What? How does he know? Waxmancy.
Jeez. What a card. What a card.
I mean, Cult Neophyte is pretty sick.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of Battlecry minions. But you're bound to get one okay one at the very least when playing Waxmancy. So, Eddie does have a stabilization tool in hand with Wild Pyromancer and Apotheosis. How greedy of a boy. Okay, literally not greedy at all.
Yeah. Just playing for tempo.
Didn't even
here,
let me finish my
recognizing that-
sentence. That's how
Right.
ungreedy Eddie is.
Saiyan can play the Janus Barov in this spot and just kind of play the 5 mana card on 5.
What makes something
Looks solid to
Seems
me.
good. I don't even know which one I want to illusion here. More
I
power
think
or
I
more
anticipate my opponent to have Wild Pyromancer, and so I think I want to preserve the Crazed Netherwing more. Also, we're trading down on this Crimson Hothead, yeah? 6 damage available. You can push it all to face. You could also kill this Crimson Hothead.
Yeah,
Cool
I want
him
to
down
kill
a
the
little
Crimson
bit.
Hothead. He has like no comeback mechanics in hand. So he doesn't kill this now, and for some reason Eddie clears the board and has a dominant board position and a Crimson Hothead, you're in trouble.
So then if you're Eddie, I think you first of all probably just want to play this Pyromancer, but the question becomes, what would be your follow-up plan to it? And it doesn't seem very solid, so ends up just passing and accepting what might come his way.
Yeah, I think this is fine. He's willing to take damage because he knows that a lot of it will be healed up by the Wild Pyromancer Apotheosis. The longer he waits, theoretically, the more the board builds up, which means the more he heals. Also, even if he goes Wild Pyromancer Apotheosis, he just stops there. He kills off the Jandis, the Evil Miscreant, and the Illusion Minion, and leaves up whatever's left, which still gives Saiyan initiative. I think what Eddie wants is to be able to go Wild Pyromancer Apotheosis, something else, healing up, clearing the board, and giving himself initiative. Going for a much bigger swing.
Yep, that's totally fair. He has Holy Smite in the hand, he has Wave of Apathy, so his hand continues to improve with the mana crystals that he gets every single turn.
Swiftly.
Oh, whoa, that's fun. Mamazul, Hunter Ace. Waxmancy.
Nice.
All right, got the Traveling Healer set to go. Eddie can play the Wild Pyromancer now. Saiyan's anticipating it, and he can draw some cards.
Sounds good.
to play with fire?
So you want to go one step deeper and use the coin or raise dead here.
And coins, so you can heal back up the Wild Pyro.
I think raise dead also makes sense. But yeah, then you'd be floating 1 mana. What would you use the coin for, right? Like, what are we saving the coin to do?
Next game.
My question. The Hearthstone game is giving Saiyan a little bit of advice on how to win. You want to aim where? At this
What
Wild
could that
Pyromancer?
possibly be indicating? Okay.
It's a sign.
Damage.
Pex's Blast is reasonable. You already have a lot of cards and cards that can generate cards. I don't think you need that. Arcane Intellect. I think Ray of Frost is also something to consider, but yeah, I like damage. I like finding ways to leverage your board. I feel like Rogue is struggling right now. To close games, they do a great job building boards, and they just kind of fall off.
You don't pick the ones.
Radiance. A 1 mana spell that negates the 5 mana spell that Justsaiyan got last turn.
Now we're cooking.
Oh. Nearly time for a quest. Saiyan has so many different paths that he can take here.
Right.
He could go Shadow Jeweler Gnar and start just jamming some secrets, get value out of that.
I wonder.
I don't think it's questing adventure time. He doesn't have enough cheap stuff. Also, I don't think it's secret passage time because if he does find a lot of things that gain value, he's going to be wasting hand space. All right, questing adventure time it is. And secret passage?
Oh?
Whoa!
Oh, he's looking for
These are the
Vendetta?
2 things that I ruled out at the beginning of the turn.
He's looking for Vendetta and other cheap cards. Blackjack Stunner is good.
Yeah, Blackjack Stunner's good. Vendetta would have needed something else to be able to activate, which was, why I didn't
Right,
like
that's what I was
playing this.
thinking.
Quickly.
Blackjack
was
Stunner
it,
is
though?
really one of the only cards that lets him capitalize, but does find it, finds prep, finds dirty tricks. This worked out. This really worked out. Gets Alec here too. Damage plus damage equals damage.
Wow. Well, Eddie is prepared, but he does have to fork over more cards to Saiyan. In fact, Saiyan can overdraw here at this point, but I don't think that's something Eddie's really concerned about.
Right into my trap.
Okay, so he activates the ambush. Doesn't see a spell yet, so he doesn't know for sure if it's dirty tricks. Sees the dirty tricks. For some reason I thought that Saiyan also had to plagiarize, but I only realized he has 2 secrets now, so he can't overdraw. Eddie finds the Witchy Lackey, so he can go for the Evolve. He's really trying to fight back on board, but he just doesn't have enough power cards here. He has 3 waves of apathy. 3 of them. And you're telling me he's not going to use one here. Nope. He's waiting for another turn to use the coin.
He's gonna lose the game with Court in his hand.
Are we finding the legendary turn 10 coin play? I kind of like Alec here. I'm not sure why. I think it's just because it's like an annoying minion that's powerful and your opponent can't really do much to it.
Yeah. I was thinking just
It can-
play
it
out
can
all the
clean
cheaper
up the
minions.
I wonder.
Like the Traveling
Like-
Healer, Madame Lazul, and Ancestral. Whatever.
Right. I guess that like makes it worse against things like Soul Mirror. I just like the Alec here because you can collect value immediately. You still pay like backstab, and it just looks good. 16 agrees. It's making me worried. I'm not sure if this ends up being something that he can completely punish here, but it looks like everything's fine.
Yep. All right. This must be a wave of apple.
Whoa!
What? A build your own Edwin kit. I've wanted one of those since I was a kid.
He saved the coin for this very moment.
He knew.
He knew. It was fate.
A simple spell should do.
Truly a genius move to save the coin. Now he can shadow step. Wait, what? Wait, what?
He could still play the Edwin next turn. That's fine.
Yeah.
Coin penance this turn, maybe. I don't know. And
I was
then
thinking the Witchy Lackey could get shadow stepped, and then he could play it, and everyone's like a 10-10, right? 10-10's not enough? No, it would have been more. It would have been a 12-12 because I forgot the coin. All right. I guess he doesn't want to potentially like leave up too much power, right? Actually, we weren't acknowledging the fact that these minions would still be on the board. Yeah. Okay.
It was 11 power on board if he goes for that Edwin, and he was at 18.
Yeah.
Wait, no, he was at 17. So 6 damage. He would have died if he won with that play. He was dead.
Right. No, it's totally right. We just good on Eddie to recognize the bait. And we did point out that he had 3 waves of apathy that he wasn't using. And eventually he would need to use it because they don't layer on top of each other. It's not like you can play it and then... It's not like you can play it and then have it stack for the following turn. Speaking of stacking sand. Getting that Christmas tree rolling.
Yep.
All right. So... If we're not playing Edwin Van Cleef this turn along with the Pyromancer, then I don't understand how to play this matchup at all.
Or Hearthstone, period.
I guess the issue is that right now there's so many secrets, so like you could play things, you could be playing into an ambush. But you have Penance and Wild Pyromancer. Another thing is, what if like, you know, your opponent has Pressure Plate, and it's like he's going to test for it right now. He sees it. Okay.
Do you like to play with fire?
Well done.
Quickly.
Eddie navigating around. This is a test for... Not really much, actually. Coin. Kills. Edwin Van Cleef and heal himself. Oh, yeah! And the 12-12 is there. But I mean, one thing Eddie doesn't know if this is misdirection or not.
Or freezing trap.
My hand is full.
Freezing trap.
Give me a quest.
Alright, now it's time for Saiyan to go big.
Assassin's Contract. All right. And summons a poisonous minion. Eddie's out of resources for big minions outside of this Crimson Hothead, but he does have that Mass Resurrection.
Whoa!
Whoa, Murzon can answer it right back.
Yeah, but there's a guy. Poisonous guy.
Okay. What about
I must consider.
Murzon, then Shadow Step your Murzon.
Oh. Yes.
Okay, I like this Crimson Hothead Forbidden Words. The Shush play.
Got me fired up.
What's the Shadow Step waiting for, though? That's the question.
I don't know.
Maybe it's still waiting for the Murzon. It's just waiting for a bigger swing with the Murzon.
Right. Ooh, finds Murzon. And Mass Resurrection. He knows that both of these cards are high value and has an opportunity.
Think.
He's had a lot of like small things die. So I'm not sold on the Mass Resurrection. Murzon just seems like the highest potential value card in that lot. So
Quickly.
I mean, Eddie's just getting incredibly outvalued right now. Oh jeez.
I mean, he's got cards that generate cards that can most likely get him cards that generate more cards.
He's been holding on to these Wave of Apathies for this moment, Dan. Finally picks up the ball Acolyte and can steal a bunch of garbage.
Yes. Bunch of garbage
Play a bunch of
sounds about
garbage.
right.
If he plays Murzon. I believe the Hunter's Secret that's still up is Pack Tech.
You think this is your time?
Pack Tech.
It is mine.
Nice.
It just says all their voice lines
Wait.
at the same time.
Can we use Shadow Step here at all?
Evil Madame Lazul. What is he
Madame
waiting
Lazul.
for?
Madame Lazul so that he can get Murzon right back. So that when Saiyan plays Murzon, Eddie can play Murzon. No, so Saiyan would play the Murzon, and the Murzon would get Shadow Stepped at the end, which allows Eddie to play Murzon and Shadow Step Murzon at the end. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
This is your time. It is mine. You think this is your
That's
This
Lady
is
on
kind of
Azure
like
combo with
Lady
Eddie.
Maid. Well, yeah. So just trade onto the board here. Slowly peck your opponent to death.
Here's the Shadow Step Murzon Wave of Apathy play. Oh, maybe that's better.
No, it's actually Shadow Step your Murzon. Like, unironically, like, you're supposed to Shadow Step your Murzon and play it again, I think. Because then you summon more Murzons back and you Wave Apathy right back. He doesn't know about the Shadow Step, but he can certainly think about the Shadow Step and decipher it. Because then if Saiyan does the same thing right back, then the Murzon that he played would be back in the same spot.
I wonder.
Is he gonna wave apathy and then play the Cabal Acolyte then? And then you can Shadow Step the Merge at the very end? Or you can Shadow Step the Cabal Shadow Priest, right? No, because it costs 4 mana instead. Okay. Okay. This is fine too. Right, because this way, if he does end up having Merge on Survive, he can still go for that Shadow Step and not have to worry about Wave of Apathy back on his own units. That makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, man. This can just keep happening over and over.
Let me change your
Yes. But the issue is that Eddie doesn't have a way to stop the damage for next turn. Because if he plays his own, let's say he Shadow Steps and does Murazond again, this time his opponents only play Shadow Step and Murazond and the Occult Neophyte.
Olmir, but can he trade off enough of his stuff?
Bamboozle turns into Savannah High Main.
Pack Tactics won't trigger.
Right.
Full board.
I think he's tested for every other secret though, right?
I guess Snake Trap, right?
The
They're the same trigger point, so.
Right.
If Snake Trap proc Pack Tactics.
Well, either
proc,
way, he would know that something.
Those.
Yeah.
Quickly.
No.
Trade off everything in Soulmere.
Yeah, trade off everything.
Get these into the eight attacks.
Yeah, you need to make board space for it. But he can't actually clear off his own Divine Shield minion.
Yeah.
So he won't be able to deal with the Cabal Acolyte or Cabal Shadow Priest. Whew, what an intense board state. 4, 7, 10, 12, 17 damage right now.
Yeah, not quite enough.
Has the Onyx Mage Scribe as well to get more spells in his hand. Edwin Van Cleef is also available to play for tempo. You just saw your opponent use Soul Mirror, so Edwin seems a little bit more appetizing.
Magic is not a toy.
Eddie's just completely gassed out.
Do not lose.
Right.
More rogue spells.
That's
Deadly
damage.
Poison.
Damage is good.
Yep. Damage plus damage equals damage.
That
and all face
checks out.
Yep. I got head crack.
Head crack's pretty sick. Helps him get some damage, and head crack plus the deadly poison plus the Apexis would be lethal next turn.
Yep.
And Eddie is almost out of luck here. Ooh, the double Cabal Acolyte.
And he could Shadow Step a healer and heal himself.
Okay, so he can trade into the healer. Oh, he can trade into a lot of... actually, this is really interesting.
I wonder.
So there's a Pack Tactics or Snake Trap. I don't think he knows which one. I don't think there's
And a new
way.
secret, by the way, too. So
yeah,
if it's counterspell, well, I guess you just have to ignore it and hope that's not a thing.
Yeah. It is Netherwind Portal, which Could be a problem depending on the size of the minion that pops out.
Let me change your mind.
And there it is, Pack Tactics.
Your mind is not your
And if Saiyan gets a really powerful minion, oh, he does not. He might even steal a taunt minion.
dance, puppet.
Oh,
Dance.
50-50 on this one.
Dance, puppet.
Gets it.
Does.
That ended up being a sick turn. Like,
What?
He held on to the Shadow Step
What the
for
heck?
so long. Like, for so long.
What? Is Wild Pyromancer just lethal though? Like, is that possible at all?
Wild Pyromancer, head crack.
Pexus
A
Blast.
Pexus Blast. Yeah, then you push through. Yeah. No, not quite.
Wait, can you Shadow Step the Pyromancer and do that? Yeah, so you head crack here.
Yep.
You trade in the 2/2 into one of the taunt minions. Then you can Shadow Step.
No, it doesn't work
Right?
like that. He's missing damage.
Oh yeah. All right, whatever.
Shadow
Just a
Step
Pexus
won't-
Blast then.
The Shadow Step won't proc the Wild Pyromancer.
Right.
I'm out of cards.
Vendetta. No backstab target. Wait, there was a backstab target. There was a backstab target, TJ.
He could have also wand thieved first, but he didn't give himself enough time.
Right, it was too slow.
Like he thought the Wild Pyromancer was the same, but
Oh, what if he gets 3 taunts? What if he gets 3 Cabal Acolytes?
what about 0 taunts?
Yep. And
He's dead on board.
that'll
Oh,
do it.
Man. Oh,
Just
man.
Saiyan stays alive.
We made it.
Yep, he's just staying alive in Division A here, as he is going to improve to a 3-4 record, which means that Eddie is also at 3-4, and sets up a very interesting potential tiebreaker scenario. Eddie, I think, has the best tiebreakers out of anybody that has 3 wins right now, but him, Monsanto, and Saiyan, all three are at 3-4. Then Killin' All Day and Language Hacker can join them, and then we would have a 5-way tie for 3rd place.
Which is insane. We also could have a 5-way tie for, I guess, 3rd place in Division B as well, because all those players at the bottom of the standings play against each other. So, shaping up to be kind of a crazy end to the season here, and we don't really